Happy New Year! Yes, December 31st, 2022 is when I'm shooting this. And so the year is finally coming to a close. A few good things, a few not so good things, a few meh things, actually, a lot of meh things. And I thought I would go through what people normally go through this time of year is sort of the goals and technologies that I want to tackle in 2023. I didn't make a list from 2021 to 2022, so I'm going to briefly recap what I went through in 2022, at least everything I could remember, and then go through what I'd like to tackle in 2023, and then do a similar report card type of thing, status report, at the end of 2023. Okay, so in 2022, I ended up creating more content for this YouTube channel, which was great. I had a lot of fun. Every time I create and publish a new video, it just gives me even more experience in tackling these kinds of things. That's always a good thing. Just highlight that. I was able to get more of a home studio off the ground. I moved offices a few times. I work in my home, and that's also where my setup is. And I moved a few times throughout the year through a room on the middle floor and then down to the basement here where I currently am right now. So I flipped back and forth a few times for different reasons each time, but it looks like for the moment I'll be in the basement. I did spend a lot of time fiddling with OBS Studio and XSplit Broadcaster. I don't have any affiliations with each. I'm not promoting either of them. I'm just recording what I went through. With OBS, it's a really great project. Both are really great projects. XSplit Broadcaster is paid, and OBS Studio is free. That's kind of the big one. Another big one I came across is that in OBS Studio, as you set up different camera apertures, resolutions, I'm not sure what the correct video term is, when you set up different camera settings, they are applied globally throughout all of your layers, your different layers and scenes, which I found extremely frustrating because in some instances, I want like a full screen presentation of me, and then on other instances, more of a thumbnail talking box like I've kind of got it now. And with OBS, it's kind of all or nothing. At least that's what I've come across so far. And whereas in XSplit, kind of the main thing that's kept me there is you can apply different camera settings, different settings for just about everything to different scenes, and they maintain that for each different scene. So I can create a different scene for sort of a full screen and then flip back and forth between what you see here right now. So for the moment, I'm on XSplit. That's kind of where I've been doing the majority of my shooting, which is also where I'm shooting this one from. I also associatively spent a lot of time fiddling with microphone audio and camera settings. I really got stuck in a mindset of wanting it to sound perfect, more than how it looks, but I wanted it to sound really good. I get really annoyed is not quite the right word, but it just, when I'm watching some video of someone else online and either watching tutorials or a let's play or something like that, and the audio is all out of whack and it's really jarring, at least to me, just my own opinion, not throwing shade at anyone or at any channel. It's just one of those things that kind of gets my ears. So one of the problems I had, I didn't realize until much later, I would have saved myself a lot of time, is that I ended up purchasing a different microphone. I was fiddling with what's the name of it now? It was a New Ear microphone. It did its job good enough, but I did have to fiddle a lot with settings and filters within OBS and XSplit, and to make it kind of sound good. And I could never quite get there, at least in my own audio sort of processing. It never quite felt right. And there was always something sort of off that I felt. And so then I recently purchased a Q2 Studio. I'm butchering the name. I can see the box, but I can't quite read it. And that to me, right out of the box, it worked perfectly. I haven't had to touch anything in XSplit Broadcaster. By default, it's doing a lot of the filtering and everything sort of right out of the box, which is another great feature of the software. And so that's really helped me to just remove a lot of my personal weirdness around audio microphone sort of settings. So if you're really struggling with your own setup and you've gone through the same tutorials on YouTube over and over and over and it still doesn't quite sound right, then it might be time to actually look at buying another microphone. So I also enjoy entering the 7-day roguelike competition, which is a game jam that lasts for 7 days in which you put together a roguelike. And I enjoy it every year. I look forward to it every year. And my track record of putting entries in it could be better. It's a little bit hit and miss. I get really excited, I get going, and then just almost always that's when things in real life pick up, things around work pick up. Samson Q2U microphone. That's what I'm trying to remember to say. I'll put everything in the description down below for anyone who actually watches this video. And so I really enjoy making entry. I really enjoy working on roguelikes, and I really enjoy putting those together and playing them. I'm not good at them, as you might tell from some of my previous Let's Plays. I'm really not good at them. I die right away. If the difficulty is anything above easy, then it tends to be a really short play. Anyways, so I that's one thing I didn't get accomplished. Another thing was far less 7DRL 2022 Let's Plays. The year before, in 2021, I managed to do quite a few videos on the really creative entries that were in the 7DRL 2021 Game Jam. And for some reason last year, I just didn't get around to doing any for the 7DRL 2022. I really can't explain why. I just couldn't put it together. I've been judging for the past few years in the 7DRL competition, and not so good this year in 2022, I must admit. I could have judged a lot more. I could have helped out the other judges a whole lot more. I think I only ended up we get a spreadsheet when the contest is over. We usually get a spreadsheet of all the entries, which are about, it definitely has been growing every single year. I should have actually counted it before shooting this video, but they've been growing every year. And the Darren Gray, the head judge, head maintainer, I'm not sure what kind of title he has, but he organizes all of the entries into groups of 5, I believe, 4 or 5. And then each judge will come in and pick up one of those groupings, and then this way we kind of get a balanced review and judgment of all of the entries. So each entry ends up being judged by about 3 judges, I believe. And so then all the results are aggregated during the actual rating kind of process. It's a lot of fun, and it sounds a lot more serious than it really is. It's meant to be judged in fun and a good time, and just recognizing the amount of work and effort that does take to get an entry put in throughout the 7 days. It sounds easy. One of those things that just kind of sounds easier than it actually is when you get into it. So let's see. I also was able to launch the Wazoo Web Bytes YouTube channel, which is where I'm doing a lot of my web development work, web focus, and tutorials and that. Again, I'll put a link in the description down below. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I've actually been able to maintain a more or less regular pacing, and it's been doing not bad at all. I'm up to past 500 subscribers from zero, which is pretty impressive for me. I'm pretty proud of that. And yeah, we'll see how 2023 goes. I did complete the entire first season of my Doctor Who podcast called Summons from Gallifrey. It's available on iTunes, Spotify, and pretty much everywhere you get your podcasts. At least I hope it is, depending on your provider. But yeah, I had a really great time putting the first season of that show together. It was a lot of writing. It was a lot of watching Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who, but I had a really fun time, and it really gave me a lot of appreciation, even more appreciation for the classic science fiction British TV series that has been going on for a long time. The last thing I could think of is that once or twice I've tried to launch a series on this YouTube channel called Operation Steam Dream, where it would document me going through the process of putting a small game together and launching it on Steam. Yeah, I still think it would be a really interesting idea and a really interesting project. But as I said, I've tackled it a few times, and I've only managed to get like 1 or 2 episodes done, and then it kind of just fizzles out. So the idea is not dead, just didn't do so well on it this year. So let's go ahead to 2023. Let's see what I would like to tackle, what I would like to get done for this year. So first things up, based on everything I mentioned about the 7-day roguelike competition, I do want to create a 7DRL 2023 entry. I want to get that done and shipped this year. Usually happens around end of March, first week of April, somewhere right around there. And I want to do some actual 7DRL 2023 Let's Plays. I think it would be a lot of fun to still go through a lot of the really creative and ambitious and just fun Let's Play videos. I go through them, and I, even though it's content meant for YouTube, when I do a Let's Play and I talk about things that are happening, I approach each one in a positive mindset. So I'm not looking to rip apart everything I'm playing. Definitely not, given how much work someone is putting into it, and it's also just a creative, objective thing. Maybe I'm not so crazy on some entries, but I don't look for things to tear apart in them either. So just kind of wanted to make that a little bit clear, but I think you get that if you watch any of my Let's Plays on the entries. I find they're more in the positive angle of things. And continuing on that theme, I want to actually help judge the 7DRL 2023 entries. Yeah, I want to make more of an effort in getting them done in a timely, consistent manner. And if I'm able, I found the secret in judging, at least for me, in 2021, was actually doing the Let's Plays. So I could do a Let's Play, and at the same time, I would be judging that entry. So I think I'm going to continue the same type of thing. I want to do that this year in 2023. I also want to write, shoot, and publish the remainder of Season 2 of my Doctor Who podcast, The Summons from Gallifrey. I've done a few episodes, 1 or 2, I believe, and I want to make sure that I keep going on that and wrap up Season 2. I want to spend more time on my home studio, but at the same time, try to worry less about it. As you can see from the background behind me, I spent a lot of time in 2022 worrying about my background. So for some of my videos, I would have my green screen up, and then other videos, I would get annoyed about having the green screen and fiddling with lighting constantly, and so I would just shoot it the way I'm shooting it right now. So it's not always ideal, but I do want to get something a little bit more creative behind me in the background. If I can get a shelf fit between my chair and the wall, it would be nice to have something visually interesting to look at behind me instead of just a blank wall. I've had comments that I look like I'm in the witness protection program. So I can definitely see where they're coming from. So yeah, I would like to do something to try and fix that. I do want to grow my Wazoo Web Bytes channel to over 1K subscribers. Like I said, I'm currently sitting at 510 right now as of this recording, which is really great. I'm really happy. I'm really thankful. I'm really blessed that I've gotten that many so far. So I just want to keep it up, keep going, and see how far I can take it. I want to publish a game on Steam, an actual game that someone can pay and download and play on their own through on their own Steam account. Instead of worrying about the documenting process like I tried to do in my Operation Steam Dream, I think I'm not going to worry about it until it feels like I've hit a momentum where it might actually be useful for others or used for marketing, to sort of gain a little traction and interest in what I'm working on. I want to be a little bit more mindful and careful about how I'm talking about it. Like so many people, I've fallen in that trap so many times, as I've said, is, so many people start out with really big ideas, really big plans, and you get excited in following what they're doing, and you really are hoping that they can get something achieved through what their ambitious goals are. And I don't want to say more often than not, maybe that sounds too negative, but at the same time, more often than not, people just, it doesn't come through. And so I want to be a little bit more purposeful and mindful and make sure I'm getting things achieved, getting things done. I do want to get in a regular pattern of content creation for this channel. So I'd like to think that I'm going to be putting a little bit more effort into game development. I run into the classic consumer producer trap all the time, where I want to produce more content and actually produce things like produce games, produce software, produce things like that. But at the same time, I also want to consume. So I get into habits or periods. Maybe that's a better way. I get into periods where I just want to consume, but at the end of the day, I've only got the same amount of precious time to slice between both. And then there's work, family, everything else on top of that, outside of this actual box around me. So it's tough. It's a constant battle of, do I want to enjoy something, consume it, and just play it, or do I want to actually produce something? Do I want to produce a video, produce some more game code, produce some more JavaScript, or whatever it is? So that's kind of the struggle. I don't want to say eternal struggle. That's a little bit more dramatic than I think it is. But at the same time, it is a struggle between the two, deciding when to do one versus the other. And the last bullet point I put on here is I really enjoy doing Let's Plays, but they take a lot of effort to shoot and edit. And so I kind of want to figure that out. I'm not quite sure really what to do. I guess it comes down to what to do with this channel. Do I want it to be a Let's Plays channel, or do I want to do more tutorial game development work? So that's kind of another thing I'm working on deciding. I do enjoy Let's Plays, but I also enjoy producing more game development type of content. So it may end up being a mix of both for the time being, while I figure that out, which is not so bad. I'll just have to separate things out into YouTube playlists for the channel, so that if you come here preferring one over the other, then you can just enjoy the one over the other. And that's another thing, while I'm talking about it, that I'd like to figure out or work on, is just I'd like to level up my YouTube skills. And this is more in terms of everything from writing, producing, managing, how I'm directing the account, how I'm looking at analytics. It's a big, I don't want to say big effort. It's a real, again, I want to be mindful about what I'm doing and try and take advantage of what's available for me on the platform and use that to just increase and level up my skill set on that. So yeah, that's what I'm doing or planning to do for 2023. We'll see how it goes. I tried to tackle a few things in 2022, which sort of worked and sort of didn't work. And so I'm hoping that the done pile for 2023 will have a little bit more in it this year than 2022. But as always, I do want to try and just enjoy the whole journey along the way and try not to get too zeroed in on one line item here over everything else. So yeah, I hope you have a really great New Year's wherever you are, and I hope 2022 has been a semi-productive year for you if that's what you've wanted to work on. I wish you all the best for 2023. Let's get into it, everyone. Have a good one. Peace.